Hello friends, Gregg Braden here, and I want to welcome you to the Upshift Festival and the celebration and the launch of a brand new book by my dear friend, my colleague, Laszlo. I was honored and privileged to contribute to the book, and that's what I want to talk to you about right now. What is an upshift? What does it mean? What does it mean in our world? What does it mean in our lives? You know, it's no secret that we're living a time of extremes. Boy, are we ever. We're seeing it all around us, and even those that used to be skeptical can no longer deny that something different is happening, something unique. And from my perspective, something so precious, this rare, precious moment in the history, not just of our lives, not just of our nations, but of our planet, of our civilization. A rare moment, the first time we've seen this in 5,000 years of recorded human history, when the systems that we have built in the past, that served us in the past, are now no longer working. They are breaking down. They are buckling and collapsing before our very eyes. We know this. We're seeing it happen with climate. We're seeing it happen with the economy. Seeing it happen with the global financial system, with the global healthcare system. We're seeing these systems collapse all around us. And it's no accident that they are, because we are living this convergence of cycles of time and human experience that we simply don't talk about. We don't talk about it in mainstream classrooms, textbooks, mainstream documentaries, but they are what is driving the change. I want to talk to you just for a moment about how nature accomplishes tremendous change in a healthy way. And I'm going to use the science of cymatics to help me do this. Some of you know about cymatics, some may not. Cymatics is a relatively new science of pumping vibration, sometimes audible sounds, tones, into a physical media, a liquid media. It could be water, it could be a mercury, or a powder like talcum powder or salt or sulfur, sugar, granulated sugar. And what happens is each tone creates a specific pattern in the physical medium, and when the tone changes, that pattern changes. As the vibration increases to a higher level, to a more complex level of sound, the pattern becomes more complex as well. Here's the key, and this is what you're going to see. The only way that pattern can go from one beautiful pattern to a higher order of a more complex, more beautiful pattern is that the original pattern has to break down to give way to a higher order. This is where we are today. We are in it, and the only way out of it is to go through it. We're going through the breakdown of the complex patterns that we've created in the past, as I said, that work for us. I'm not saying they're right, wrong, good, or bad. The point is the world changed. So we've got to change, and the systems have to change, and it is rare for humans to live through this kind of change in such a compressed window of time. This is what the Upshift is all about. This is what Laszlo's book is all about, helping us to understand, number one, why this is so powerful, but number two, what can we do? So let's take a look at this cymatics pattern right now. So what you're seeing on your screen is a droplet of water, and when I set this into motion, you're going to see these patterns emerge. Before I do that, I just want you to know this is a brief film clip from a presentation that I gave in 1995. 1995, my hair was a little bit longer, a little bit darker than it is now, and you'll see that in just a moment. Let's take a look at this pattern. So here's what's happening. There's a vibration in the pattern, and the pattern's reflecting it, but now as the vibration increases, the pattern becomes more complex. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. Here's where it gets really interesting. The only way for that beautiful pattern to give way to a higher order of a more complex pattern, there I am, 1995. The only way for that pattern to give way to the higher level of order is it's got to break down. And when it does, look at what happens. It's breaking down, and as it breaks down, watch what emerges. It's a more beautiful, more complex pattern. If you are a student of sacred geometry, you're seeing sacred geometry right there. But it doesn't end there, because as the pattern continues, the vibration continues to increase in frequency, the pattern continues to give way to more complex patterns. Each time the existing pattern has to disappear. You and I are going through this right now. If you don't know this, the change in the world can be frightening. If you do understand this, what you know is the change in the world is necessary. We're in it. The only way out of it is to go through it. We're living this rare and precious moment in the history of our world when there's an unprecedented openness to accept new ideas, to accept new ways of thinking. Ervin Laszlo's new book, The Upshift, gives us the blueprint. It's the template to embrace that thinking, but it goes beyond that. It tells us how to apply that thinking in our lives in a healthy way. So I want to thank you for supporting The Upshift, and I want to thank you for all that you're doing to make this the best world possible.